Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name is Thomas, and welcome to my little Battle of the Stitches bonus video this week, where I will show you how to make such a super beautiful soap bag. Now, I named this a soap bag because I will use this in the shower with a piece of soap inside, and when you put the soap in and close it, then in combination with the water and the structure of the stitches. Of course, I'm using the beautiful rocking stitch from our Battle of the Stitches this month. Then the soap will foam up. There will be foam coming through the structure of the soap bag, and then you can easily rub it into your skin, and by this gorgeous texture that we have with this stitch, you really get like some sort of a spa treatment for your skin. In addition, you have such a cute crochet bag. The cord here, you can use it to hang it. You can also put it around your wrist to hold it while you then scrub the foam in and do something great for your skin. Of course, since this is a beautiful bag itself, you can use the bag as a gift bag, or you make 24 of them and have a beautiful crochet advent calendar, or you just use it as a washcloth. And again, with this beautiful texture and structure, you can really use it as a full body scrub, which of course is just awesome. I absolutely love using those kind of things in the shower, and ever since my skin always says thank you after each shower and looks so much better. So enough introduction of this beautiful soap bag. Now I will show you how to make one yourself. As a yarn, I'm using, of course, cotton yarn, and I highly recommend you to use cotton yarn as well, because you can then easily wash it and it dries super fast. And this is something you pretty much only achieve with cotton yarn. I'm basically making the reverse version of this, so the main part will be in red and the outer part then in this super beautiful color. I'm just so obsessed with it. It looks so gorgeous, and it's from Hobby, of course, 8/6 quality, and they interestingly they say we need a crochet hook, a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. You can use a larger hook. For this tutorial, I'm just going to use a 4 millimeter hook, because then you get like what I think the perfect structure and feel of the soap bag. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to use a 4 millimeter hook for this tutorial. Then for the end, you would need a yarn needle and of course some scissors, and you're good to go. So we are going to start with the red yarn, and what's cool about this bag is that you make it like in the long way, so you later on just fold the two sides together to receive your bag. And as a measurement or as a size, I always take my hand, basically. So then later on, if I just use it as a washcloth, then I have the size of my hand. So from making this bag here, I know that I would start my first round with 75 stitches. So be sure to adapt it for your size as well, or follow along with the 75 stitches. 75 is of course an irregular number. So that means that, of course, I'm going to start this tutorial again with an I cord. So I'm leaving a longer piece of yarn and just start with a slip knot. If you don't want to use the I-cord method, you would then chain 76 stitches, and the last stitch is always the one to turn your work. If you use the I-cord, you can stay with the 75. And again, you take the end yarn and put it around your hook from the front, then take the yarn that goes to your yarn ball, pull it around from the back, and pull the last loop through the 2 loops on your hook. And like that, we first make an I-cord of 75, and I'll meet you back once I have them. Here we go, my I-cord is done, and when I put it together, then I probably have like the size of my hand, so this should fit perfectly. And now we can directly start with our rocking stitch. Of course, feel free to check out the tutorial video about the rocking stitch that I posted last week. You will find it in the Battle of the Stitches playlist and under the tutorials. And of course, you will find it also here by clicking on the link. But I'm just quickly going to show you again in the first round how the rocking stitch works. And we take our hook and place it into the first stitch, grab the yarn and pull it through, and then we go directly into the next stitch, pull the yarn over, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook. The beginning and the end are always 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 of them, and then always chain 1 as soon you have made one of those rocking shells, basically. Then we go in the same stitch again where we were, pull the yarn through, then go to the next stitch, yarn over, pull the yarn through, and one more, pull the yarn through. So now you see you have the 4 stitches, and then you yarn over and pull through all 4 of them, and again chain 1 to close the shell. And this is how we continue right until the end of this very first round. Always remember the beginning and the end are 3 loops on your hook, and everything in between is always, like you can see it here, the 4 loops on your hook, and then close the shell with a slip stitch. And the first stitch of each shell is always the same stitch where you had the last loop pulled through, and like that you just continue, and I will meet you at the end to show you how to turn and to also show you how the last shell works, and I'll meet you then. So when you're at the end, you should be left with just one last stitch, and this is correct. And then we go in our last stitch, and then we take the very last stitch, which of course then was also our very first I-cord element. You pull the yarn through, and as you can see, you only have the 3 loops, and this is absolutely correct. 3 loops in the beginning, 3 loops in the end, and you chain 1 to close the shell, and then you can turn your work already and start with the next round. And again, you go in there, then you go in the next stitch, 3 loops, yarn over, pull it through, and chain 1 to close it. And after that we have always our 4 loops. as a little help to always check yourself, you can also take a look at the stitches. There are longer ones like this one, and there are shorter ones like the one after that, and they also go a little bit upwards. So these are always the chains that we did to close the shells, the small ones, and the larger ones are always the ones on top from our rocking stitch. And you always grab the yarn stitch by stitch until you reach a small one like this one here, and then you always know that you have the 4 loops now and can close the shell and start the next one. I'll show it again. So we go in the same stitch, then here's a long one, 3 loops, and here's the short one, which was the chain in the previous round. And by pulling the yarn through, then you have again the 4 loops to close it. And this is what you do all the way, basically until you reach the width of your hand. In my case here it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 rounds. So each of these lines here stands then for 2 rounds basically. So 20 rounds in total, and I'll meet you once I have them, and then we can start with the other color to create the little border. Have fun, and I'll see you later. So now I have my 20 rounds. You should have 10 of those lines if you have followed the same dimensions. When you put it in half, you see it fits perfectly for my hand. Please feel free to adapt it to your size. And now to balance out our initial I-cord round, I'm going to make one final round with just single crochets all along, just to get a flat ending. So I'm doing those 75 single crochets, and also make sure to count them so that we later on now know where the middle of our washcloth or soap bag is. With 75 stitches divided by 2, you end up at 37.5. So that means the 38th stitch is our centerpiece, or is our center stitch. So you then later on know where to place the next color. And for that I'm just, since I don't see any stitch markers here, I'm just cutting a little piece, and once I'm at stitch number 38, I'll show you how to mark the stitch without a stitch marker. So I'll meet you when I'm at stitch number 38. So now I have 37 single crochet, so the next one here is going to be my 38th. And to do, or to incorporate this yarn piece as a sort of a stitch marker, I just place it around together with the red, and then I will just pull it through, and I will just have it in there so I know later on where my stitch is. You can also put one side to the front and the other one to the back, but like that, in the end, we know where our center is. And we continue all along with single crochets. And here's our last one. And chain 1, cut the red yarn and pull it through. And now we can also put both sides together, and here we have our middle part. It doesn't matter which side you put together. You can put this side together or the other side. That is completely free. If you have it like me, that there was like a little knot or something that would be visible in the front, then just turn it inside out and you have a pretty soap bag. And now we take the color number 2, try to find that stitch. It's right here, and we go in there under both of the loops. You can now also take off the yarn piece, and the first thing that we do is put the next color over your hook, pull it through, and then just slip stitch to connect it like this. And now we can start with our little border here, which is super simple, because first we chain 1 and then we yarn over, and then you go in the first stitch on the front side of the last slip stitch, and then you go in the stitch on the other side, pull through all of them, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and from there we go with a slip stitch in the next stitch in the front, and the same thing in the back. It's right here, and we just make a slip stitch, then again chain 1, and in the next one is a double crochet, and this we do all the way, and this also creates like this little super pretty border. So here we had the double crochet, then we go in the next stitch from the front and the back and just make a slip stitch, then chain 1, yarn over and make the next double crochet in the next stitch, and we do this until we are at the end of our border. And when you're at the end, the last stitch is then double crochet in that round, and we are just going to place the final slip stitch into the same stitch again to close it like that, and then we yarn over again, pull it through, and we cut the yarn and pull the yarn through, and just pull it tight so that the top is secure. And then we can also start incorporating the 2 yarn ends already, and this is also quite simple because we are just going to hide them in that inner seam. Just along the way and pull it in. Pull it tight and then just cut it. And the same thing we do for the other side. And I'll meet you once you have it. So here we go, our washcloth. So it's absolutely fine to leave it also like this. If you want to, you can use it perfectly for your skin. But now I'm going to show you how to add the little cord in there, like I had it here. And this is quite easy. We started with an I cord of 75, so now I already made another I cord of 75 with my second color. Of course, if you haven't used the I cord method and went with a chain, then make the same numbered chain that you had in the beginning of the project. If you use 75, then make a chain of 75. And now I am simply going to cut it, and I will yarn over and pull it through like that. And now I will take my I cord and I will just weave that in the same way like I did it here. So I'm going to find a spot somewhere here. Let's see how many of those shells that I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should fit. And then I basically go from shell to shell, pulling it through. Make sure that you leave the end part of your I cord where it is, and then continue going through. And in the end, we just go in and then to the other side. And that should leave you here like this. And now the only thing we have to do is to connect the two parts. I have to cut them a bit shorter because the yarn is getting in my way, and I will use the last piece here where I placed the slip stitch, and I will just go through the last stitch on the other part, and then I will just make a double knot to bring those two together. And to finish it off, I'm going to hide the end yarns in the I cord. Just to get everything in. And once I have it cut the yarn. And usually what I also do is to place this part more in the corner, so in case at some point there's some yarn that finds its way, then at least it's a bit more hidden on the inside and you have a beautiful cord on the side of your soap bag. Now the only thing missing is, of course, put it in, close the soap bag, and use it in your shower and soap yourself up basically, and keep it in the shower to dry. You can wash it, and I think it's a super nice and super easy little gift for Christmas or for friends and families, and of course for yourself, for a little spa treatment in the shower. And I hope you enjoyed watching me making those little soap bags, the rocking soap bags with our rocking stitch from Battle of the Stitches. And I hope you got a little more inspiration about what to do with our rocking stitch. And I hope to see you back again next time, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday for the reveal of the Battle of the Stitches, where all 5 creators will show you what they have come up with, which I am sure will be super exciting to see. Of course, you will find my other tutorials in the next tutorials, usually on the weekends. So make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the future videos. Until then, have a great time. Happy crocheting. See you soon. Bye.